Welcome to the Oasis. My name is Mike, and this is the State of VR for April 2020. All the topics that I discuss in this video are linked with timestamps in the description down below. So right now we're in the midst of a global pandemic, which marks as the most single surreal thing I've ever experienced in my lifetime, and I'm sure you all feel the same way too. It's such a shame that all the most popular VR headsets have been out of stock since Christmas, because probably now, more than any other time, people could really use a way to escape from reality. Now, during this lockdown, I've been staying at home, I've been playing a lot of video games, including VR games such as Half-Life Alyx, The Room VR, Pixel Rip 1995, and Lies Beneath, all to take my mind off things. I'd love to know what VR games you've been playing to get you through the lockdown in the comments down below. So in this new video series called The State of VR, the idea is that at the end of each month, I'll give you the highlight of what's been going on in the VR industry and some things that I'm excited about coming in the future. If you like this new format and you like the concept and you have some ideas of how you'd like to see things improve moving forward, feel free to give me some feedback. I'd really appreciate it. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about Oculus Connect 7 being cancelled, Half-Life Alyx, the current SteamVR hardware stats, my Oculus Del Mar Speculation, and the upcoming HP Reverb G2. So without further ado, let's dive in. First up, due to the new social distancing measures in place, conventions and events around the world have all been cancelled, including one of my favourite events of the year, that being Oculus Connect. Now, I've attended this event for the last 3 years, which takes place in San Jose, California, and it's always my highlight of the year. Because not only do we get to try out exciting new VR games and hardware, but most importantly, we get to meet up with friends, colleagues, and VR developers from around the world, and we all get to share our passion for virtual reality together. It's like one big, happy VR family. It's amazing. But sadly, this week, Oculus announced that the event, which normally takes place in September, has been cancelled, and instead, the event will be taking place in a digital format. Now, at this time, we don't know exactly what that means. Will it be an uploaded video presentation, a live stream, or maybe something we can all watch in Oculus venues, which they've done historically for previous Oculus Connects? Or what I've seen a lot of people suggest is hosting the event in their upcoming VR social platform, Horizon. Now, this would be a pretty awesome way to keep the social aspect of the event alive, and also a great way to show off their new platform. However, I do think it's a bit too early for something like this, although, of course, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. We have seen something similar from HTC recently, as they've been hosting virtual events in an online VR social platform called Engage, and just this week, there was a virtual conference in VR called Laval Virtual World, so it is entirely possible. Alongside how Oculus deliver the show, I'm also super intrigued as to what will actually be announced at the event this year, as last year's event seemed to be more focused on the business side rather than gaming, and there's also been a recent leak suggesting that a new headset is coming from Oculus in the future, but I'll be talking more about that shortly. So what do you guys and girls think about events being held in virtual reality? Have you been to one maybe? Would you go to a conference or a concert or a panel discussion in virtual reality? I'm intrigued, so let me know in the comments. So although Oculus Connect has been cancelled, looking on the bright side, VR did recently get the biggest AAA title to date, which released last month, which is of course Half-Life Alyx. Now, this game has been really well received, not just from us, the VR enthusiasts in this little VR bubble, but also traditional gamers and the wider gaming press. The game has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and the game currently sits as the second highest rated game of 2020 on Metacritic. And this isn't just in the VR genre, this is across all gaming platforms, which is an incredible achievement, especially for a VR title. Of course, with most things in life, some people just aren't happy because they can't experience the game as they don't want to invest into a VR headset, but these people, they quickly forget that if you look back historically at the Half-Life series, it's always been about pushing boundaries and technology, and even back then, people had to buy new hardware in the form of new graphics cards to get the most out of those cutting-edge games when they released. With that said though, modders have been hard at work on the game, and despite the official tools not being released by Valve yet, we've already seen new game modes, a rough multiplayer, and even a way to play the game without a VR headset. Let me show you a little clip which I prepared earlier of what that looks like.
Gonna need a gun. Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now. You're gonna need a gun. Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now.
All joking aside, I have to admire the work that goes into making something like this even possible, and this is just the beginning. If you think about it, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, and Gary's mod all started as Half-Life mods, so the future is definitely bright for the Half-Life Alyx modding scene, whether you want to play the game in virtual reality or not. Now personally, I'm over the moon that Valve are investing so heavily in VR, and I can't wait to see what comes from them next, and if I was a betting man, I would say their next game will have a focus on multiplayer. I'm personally keeping my fingers and toes crossed anyway. But that's enough about software, let's get into some juicy VR hardware. But before I get into some upcoming VR headsets and accessories, let's dive into some Steam hardware survey stats to give us an indication of what are the most popular VR headsets that are being used by Steam users right now. But first, a sobering stat for you. Unsurprisingly, the percentage of Steam users who actually own a VR headset stands at just a mere 1.29%. I know, it's a little bit sad, but it'll be interesting to keep track of this stat over the coming months and years, so make sure you stay tuned to see how the VR industry grows. But the following stats are for percentages of overall headsets connected to SteamVR between October 2018 and March 2020, divided into the most popular headset models. So as we can see here, Oculus seem to be dominating the stats, with the Oculus Rift S being the most popular headset connected to SteamVR at the moment. It's a real shame to see the new HTC Vive Cosmos trailing so far behind in the hardware stats, but with its high price and rough launch with lackluster tracking, I'm not completely surprised. Hopefully this doesn't deter HTC to continue investing in VR in the future, as they were previously top dog in the VR space. The problem is that alongside making great virtual reality headsets, Oculus have the ability to undercut the competition on price, as they have the financial backing of Facebook, which makes them very difficult for other companies to compete with right now. I wonder who is big enough to step toe-to-toe with them in the future. Maybe someone like Apple, for example. Let me know what you think. But that's enough of stats for this video. Let's talk about some exciting upcoming hardware. And the first thing I want to talk about is an accessory to level up your VR headset's audio, and this will be particularly useful for those of you out there with an Oculus Quest, a Rift S, or PSVR, where the inbuilt audio solutions can be a bit lacking. This new accessory from a company called Rebuff Reality, called VR Ears, has a universal mounting system which can clip onto the head strap of any VR headset and provides a premium off-ear audio solution. Now these look very similar to the audio solution found on the Valve Index, which is by far the best sounding audio on a VR headset right now, and it also sits off your ears, meaning that you don't get hot ears, making wearing a headset for prolonged gaming sessions much more comfortable. Now whether or not these will actually sound as good as the Valve Index is unknown right now, but if, like me, you're willing to take a chance on them, the Kickstarter campaign for this new accessory just launched, and they've already doubled their original Kickstarter goal. The VR Ears are priced at $99 US, unless you can get in on one of those early bird deals, which I was quick enough to be able to snag myself. The VR Ears are due to ship at the end of the year, but if I can get my hands on them any earlier, I'll make sure I cover them in a video on the channel. A link to the Kickstarter campaign is in the description down below. And this is where things get really juicy for me, because the next thing I want to talk about is something I'm pretty excited about, and that's the leak of a new headset coming from Oculus. Now the information about this new device's existence was posted actually by Oculus themselves on the official Oculus developer portal page, which was subsequently removed after it was screenshotted and shared online. Now the new device was listed under the codename Oculus Del Mar, which would totally go in line with previous Oculus codenames, which are always named after coastal locations in California. Previous codenames include Monterey, Santa Cruz, Crystal Cove, and Laguna, to name a few. Under the Oculus Del Mar development header in the developer portal, it stated, "The information contained on this page is restricted to early Del Mar developers only. Do not share this information. Any questions should be directed to the Del Mar First Access Forum or your Oculus partner." Pretty interesting stuff. So what do we know about this headset so far? Well, sadly, not much, other than according to some clever Redditors who did some deep diving into the HTML code on the website, found some indications that this is likely going to be a standalone headset, and it will feature redesigned controllers referred to as the Oculus Jedi controllers. Will this be a wireless Oculus Rift? Maybe a new Oculus Quest? Or maybe even a beautiful combination of both Rift and Quest in a new sexy hybrid headset? Or possibly it'll be something like an AR headset. Who really knows? But right now I'm excited about it nevertheless. Hopefully Oculus will unveil the new device and we'll get some more information about this headset during Oculus Connect 7, which I talked about earlier on in this video. Let me know your predictions for the Oculus Del Mar in the comments down below. Feel free to go wild. I always love to know your guys and girls' suggestions. And finally, the last bit of hardware I want to talk about today is a new upcoming VR headset from HP, which will be the second generation HP Reverb. Now, the previous HP Reverb was a headset aimed at business and enterprise applications, but boasted a fancy display with 2x 2160 by 2160 LCD panels, and having tried it myself personally at an event, I was impressed with the image clarity, but just didn't like the bulky connector at the back of the headset, and the controllers which could burn through a set of AA batteries in just a few gaming sessions. However, the new HP Reverb G2 headset is listed on Steam, boasting a next generation headset with no compromises, which could indicate that this one will be aimed at VR consumers. Now, I'm not a massive fan of the Windows mixed reality platform, but what interests me the most about this headset is that it's being made in collaboration with Microsoft and Valve. Sadly, we don't have any details on specs right now, but what we can see in the images provided on Steam is that this headset seems to have adopted the Valve Index off-ear earphones, which, like I said earlier on in this video, is the best audio solution I've used in virtual reality so far. If this headset continues with the previous Reverb's displays, but improves on comfort, tracking, and controllers, this could be a solid headset for high-end gamers looking for an upgrade, and of course the sim enthusiast market. As they boast compatibility as one of their key features, what I'm personally hoping for is that it's a headset that provides both inside-out tracking from Windows MR, but also the ability to be used with SteamVR Lighthouse tracking, which could then open it up to the possibility of being used with the Index controllers. The Windows mixed reality platform is long overdue a refresh, and this could be the first new headset that we see that's going to break the mold from the third-party manufacturers. I'll be sure to post more information about this headset on the channel as soon as it becomes available. And that concludes the State of VR for April 2020. Let me know if you like this new format. I certainly enjoyed making it, so I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you like it, maybe I'll make more like this in a regular series on the channel with monthly updates in the future. I hope you're all keeping well and safe. Leave a like if you like the video, make sure you're subscribed for all my future content, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.